Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Quanmin, Make a Toy, and the World Venom Chaos. Chapter 11. The rumors are true, real dragons are the masters who want money but not life. Secretly complaining, Lin Ming raised his head and looked around. Yulong's store is not as big as he imagined, it is a very ordinary store. It's just that the products on the shelves are nothing but oval dragon eggs. The air was also filled with wisps of Longwei, which made Lin Ming feel a little short of breath. At this time, in the air, there are continuous opening and closing of fog doors, and figures come and go. But there were not many people staying in the store, and it even seemed a little deserted. Every one of them was accompanied by an Argonian to entertain them. Thinking about it, no matter the price of the dragon egg or the access fee to enter the sub-dragon shop, ordinary people cannot afford it. Lin Ming fixed his eyes on the Argonian hostess in front of him, and said in a low and hoarse voice, "No need, I'll just look at it myself." Hearing this, the Argonian waiter was surprised, and reminded, "Sir, the identification of dragon eggs is a very professional matter. Even if we have the information in hand, we are not sure that it is 100% correct." "Are you sure?" "I'm sure," Lin Ming said firmly. He is now a beast master. Instead of listening to the opinions of the Argonians, he might as well do it himself and have enough food and clothing. "All right then, sir." The Argonian was helpless, nodded in agreement and retreated. The incident here also attracted the surprised eyes of customers wandering in the store. Someone came here without the help of a professional Argonian. Could it be that this person has a lot of insight on the pet animal? Those who can come here are naturally rich or expensive, so they immediately stepped forward, wanting to have a chat with Lin Ming. But Lin Ming always remembered what his personality was, and he refused to say a word, which made these people hit a soft nail, and could only leave in dismay. After getting rid of these people, Lin Ming was alone, finally heaved a sigh of relief, and wandered around the store. His gaze swept across the sub-dragon eggs. Immediately afterwards, in his field of vision, a brief introduction appeared next to each sub-dragon egg, including the type of dragon egg, the year and month of hatching, etc., and even a thumbnail of the race. And when he was interested in a certain dragon egg and observed it intently, more information appeared in his field of vision, including but not limited to the characteristics of dragon eggs, the upper limit of growth, what are the shortcomings, how to cultivate, growth path, how to develop perfectly, etc. This is exactly the scary thing about a god-level animal pet expert. At this moment, the dragon egg was in front of him, and it could be said that it could be seen at a glance, without any secrets. Lin Ming was looking for his favorite dragon egg while walking. Soon, he had several satisfactory choices. The dragon eggs that can be selected by him are undoubtedly the best-looking dragon eggs at the same price. Of course, that's not to say there aren't any better ones. Rather, Lin Ming could no longer afford better dragon eggs. He thought just now that 3 billion was simply an astronomical figure. But just after walking around, he saw more than one of the 5 billion dragon eggs. Several times, Lin Ming has already selected it and is ready to pay the bill and leave with it. But he eventually held back. These dragon eggs are really good. But they all excel in the range of 3 billion or less. As for Lin Ming, who had just seen several 4 or 5 billion dragon eggs, he was naturally a little dissatisfied. He hopes to find the most powerful dragon egg within his acceptable range, so that he can live up to his title of god-level animal pet expert. But after searching, he found helplessly that this store must be related to the Dragon Clan. Except for the Dragon Clan, who would design such a tricky price so that no one would have the slightest chance to take advantage of it. What Lin Ming could find was indeed the best dragon egg that could be bought at a price of 3 billion. No matter how good it is, the price will be exceeded. Just when Lin Ming was helpless and ready to accept his fate, suddenly, his eyes fixed on a dragon egg. He suddenly sounded suspicious, walked over, and looked at the dragon egg in detail, his eyes gradually surprised. This is a dragon egg of a golden dragon. The golden sub-dragon is known as one of the sub-dragons with the highest bloodline of the true dragon. This kind of dragon looks like a wingless real dragon, with golden scales, which are particularly dazzling. Compared with real dragons, the golden lesser dragon lacks dragon language magic and is a magic dragon idiot. But its strength lies in its powerful hand-to-hand combat ability. In terms of melee ability alone, its hand-to-hand combat ability is no less than that of some real dragons. With such dazzling advantages, the price of the golden dragon egg is naturally high. The other one that Lin Ming had seen before cost a full 6 billion. And the dragon egg in front of me only costs 600 million. This is more than a discount, it is simply a price jump. Staff, what's going on? Lin Ming immediately invited the Argonians to inquire. The dragon eggs of the golden lesser dragon have extremely obvious features, with countless fine golden threads flowing on them, quite gorgeous. Lin Ming couldn't believe that in a sub-dragon shop with a dragon background, such a thing could be done wrong. The guest really has a lot of knowledge in petting animals. Hearing that Lin Ming had recognized the dragon egg, the Argonian first complimented him, and then talked about the dragon egg. For some reason, this dragon egg was malnourished when it came out of the mother's womb. And with the passage of time, this kind of problem has not only not weakened, but has a tendency to become more serious. Now, it's almost a stillbirth. That's why it's so cheap. The Yulong waiter argued. Even if it can't be saved, it's a golden Yulong. It's pretty good if you buy it back and eat it. Good guy, it turns out that it is sold according to the ingredients, no wonder it is so cheap. Lin Ming raised his eyebrows slightly, looked over intently, and various information appeared in front of his eyes. Sure enough, as the Argonian waiter said, the problem with this dragon egg is indeed not small. Now the vitality is weak, and the condition of malnutrition is obvious. But the more he looked, the bigger the smile on the corner of Lin Ming's mouth became. This time, Yulong store will suffer a big loss. According to the identification of his god-level animal pet expert, this dragon egg does have weak vitality and malnutrition. But that's not because it's inferior. On the contrary, it was because it awakened two talents, mutation and atavism, which led to a sharp increase in the concentration of true dragon blood in its body. Its malnutrition is simply due to the mother's difficulty in supplying the nutrients he needs, so it has been delayed again and again, until now, it has almost become a waste egg. But these problems, in Lin Ming's eyes, are not problems. Don't forget, who is he? He is a god-level pet nutrition expert. In the eyes of others, this egg is hopeless, and the only way left is to use it as an ingredient. But in front of Lin Ming, a god-level pet nutrition expert, it's all trivial. He was confident enough to rescue the golden dragon and hatch it smoothly. Not only that, as long as you cultivate it properly and take good care of it. This golden sub-dragon might not be able to further return to its ancestors, continuously improve the blood of the real dragon, and finally evolve into a real dragon. A golden holy dragon. Think about it, this time it really made a lot of money. Thinking of this, Lin Ming no longer hesitated, and immediately made a decision. I want this dragon egg. What? Guest, are you sure? Hearing this, the Argonian receptionists were also dumbfounded. It has not been a day or two since this dragon egg has been placed here, and many people have been interested in it. But as long as they know the details of this dragon egg, everyone turns around and leaves immediately. As for buying it and eating it, no matter how cheap it is still 600 million star coins. No one with money can withstand such nonsense. Ever since, it seemed that there was only one dragon egg left. That is, after the vitality is completely gone, it becomes the appetizer served by the Argonians. But now, there is actually a customer who wants to buy it. Guest, let me remind you again, I have already told you all about the condition of this dragon egg. The Argonian waiter reminded that their shop is a long-term business, and they don't want to bear the notoriety of deceiving customers. After all, none of the people who come here is good. I am sure. Seeing Lin Ming's resolute attitude, the Argonian waiter didn't have much to say, so he called the store manager directly. Compared with the Argonians covered in scales, the store manager turned out to be a human woman through and through. It's just that those blood-colored animal pupils showed her identity, not human. Hearing Lin Ming's purchase demand, the store manager was also surprised, and confirmed again and again, "Customer, are you really sure you want to buy?" Lin Ming got a little impatient and chose to pay the bill directly. In this case, please take care of the guest, and welcome to visit next time. In the end, Lin Ming took the dragon egg and immediately teleported out of the Yulong shop under the watchful eyes of the Argonian hostess and the store manager. Finally got a dragon egg. Lin Ming didn't delay any longer, and immediately returned to his home. This dragon egg has great potential, but its state is also very dangerous. If it goes on like this, within 2 months, this egg will really become a dead egg. At that time, its role is really to be a side dish. Thinking of this, Lin Ming immediately started to act. He took out the pen and paper, placed the dragon egg in front of him, and observed it carefully. God-level pet nutritionist profession, loading. Under Lin Ming's gaze, messages appeared on the dragon egg, which were the current condition and defects of the dragon egg. At the same time, in his mind, various materials surged, combined, and finally turned into pens on paper like flying. Soon, a recipe appeared under his pen. This is the best way to hatch a golden drake. A perfect nutrient solution formula. As long as the dragon eggs are soaked in the nutrient solution, after a period of time, they can hatch smoothly. There may even be unexpected surprises. Just do it. Lin Ming immediately took this material list, opened the transaction panel, and searched. What? After some investigation, Lin Ming gave a slight snort and frowned, feeling a little distressed. Most of the materials on the list are not hard to find. Even if some of them were precious, under Lin Ming's ruthless money offensive, they were quickly resolved. But there is a material that is not even sold. At the same time, it is also the most critical of all materials. That is the essence of phoenix. The so-called phoenix essence actually refers to the saliva of the phoenix. As a powerful race comparable to dragons, every phoenix is born with powerful regeneration and nirvana powers. This is why it is needed in the nutrient solution. Because only the power of nirvana contained in the essence of the phoenix can help the dragon egg escape from the brink of death and hatch smoothly. But helplessly, I searched left and right, but found nothing. Lin Ming was a little strange. He clearly remembered that there was indeed a group of phoenixes in this world. Even real dragons have dragon eggs for sale, but why not phoenix saliva? After checking again, Lin Ming finally understood. There are 2 types of warcraft groups in this world. One is an ethnic group that stands on the same side as human beings and is protected by the consciousness of the blue star Gaia. True dragons and phoenixes belong to this category and cannot be harmed at will. And these ethnic groups also have special residences, such as the Dragon Palace and Dragon Island, where the real dragons are located in the deep sea. Another example is Phoenix's Phoenix Garden located deep in the mountains. In these places, idlers are not allowed to enter. The other is the wild beast that has been disturbed by the will of other planes and has betrayed Gaia's consciousness. It lives in a restricted area in the wild and can be hunted and killed at will. Simply put, it is friend and enemy. Among the friendly monsters, the phoenix is also a very different kind. Compared with saving seeds everywhere, the real dragon clan is not afraid of cold, and all kinds of sub-dragons emerge endlessly. The phoenix family pays special attention to the purity of blood, and the number is quite rare, and they rarely show up. If someone can form a friendship with a phoenix, it is quite a big thing. It is equivalent to hugging a thigh. It is also because of this that in the outside world, there are very few phoenix-related materials, even the saliva. Lin Ming had no choice but to settle for the next best thing, hoping to gain a way to communicate with the phoenix group. Since you can't buy it, you can only find Undead Bird to ask for it in person. After some searching, someone really came up with a solution. A seller specializing in various Warcraft materials heard about Lin Ming's demand and gave a suggestion. If you are confident enough in yourself, you can take a look at the world's rewards 3 months ago. There's what you want there. When someone has a problem that can't be solved, a bounty can be sent. The world reward is the reward sent to all professionals in the career panel through Gaia consciousness. Sending such a reward naturally costs a lot. Those who can do this are generally big forces, and they will only issue it when they encounter problems that cannot be solved. Lin Ming was taken aback, and quickly began to browse through the world's rewards. Soon, Lin Ming found the reward that the seller said. Seeing the content of the reward, Lin Ming suddenly realized. This world reward was issued by the Phoenix Group. What surprised Lin Ming was the reason for issuing this reward. It turned out to be because the Phoenix Princess, who had a detached status in their group, suffered from anorexia and lost her appetite. And the bounty offered was so rich that everyone was dumbfounded. A promise of the Phoenix clan, and friendship. Although there is no real reward for this bounty, it can be said to be very rich. Anyone who knows a little about the Phoenix Group will understand the horror of this reward. As a group of monsters as famous as the real Dragon Clan, it is self-evident how important the friendship and promise of the Phoenix are. Lin Ming made up his mind almost immediately. He accepted this bounty. Who is Lin Ming? He is a god-level animal nutritionist. No matter how strong the Phoenix is, it is still a pet beast. Since it is a pet beast, it is within the scope of his cooking. Without hesitation, Lin Ming accepted the bounty immediately. Soon, a portal appeared in front of him. After some disguise as usual, Lin Ming walked into the portal. Behind the portal is the legendary Phoenix Nest, Phoenix Garden. This is a beautiful place surrounded by mountains. The vegetation is lush, the flowers are in full bloom, and the air is full of fragrance. At this time, the Phoenix Garden, which was always difficult for outsiders to enter, seemed extraordinarily noisy at this time. A large number of human professionals gather here, many of them are high-level professionals. They gathered together in twos and threes to communicate, with dignified expressions. There are also some with disheveled hair, squatting on the ground and playing with various ingredients. They are obviously professional-related professionals who are thinking hard and trying to solve the problem. Obviously, although it has been 3 months, in the face of such a generous reward, many people have not given up and want to work hard. Lin Ming walked out of the portal and didn't attract many people's attention at first. After all, for that reward, people come here every day. Everyone just glanced at it, then turned their heads and went too busy with their own affairs. But in the next second, they immediately realized that something was wrong, let out a bewilderment, and looked over again. After looking up and down and confirming again and again, they dared to be sure that this young man who had just walked out of the portal turned out to be an ordinary person. He doesn't have the special aura of a professional. The Phoenix Garden is located in reality, and the breath-shielding function of Gaia's consciousness is invalid. Although it has been disguised, the aura of non-professionals still cannot be concealed. Seeing an ordinary person who has not yet entered the professional threshold accept the reward, everyone showed a look of fun. Boy, are you crazy? Even us professionals can't solve it. Why are you here to join in the fun? Do you really think that there is no price at all for accepting the reward? Let me tell you, that Phoenix Princess has a big temper, don't spit on her, and you'll be gone. I advise you to leave quickly. We don't care if you get hurt and cry later. If you anger the Phoenix clan, then you will be miserable, no one can save you. Listening to the teasing voices from far and near, Lin Ming was unmoved. He just adjusted his life occupation silently. It was originally a 3-in-1 beast master. At this time, the other 2 were all removed, leaving only the god-level beast nutritionist. Then he picked out a new career. The name of this profession is called God of Cookery. That is, a god-level chef. Just as he was getting ready, a phoenix cry sounded in the sky. Immediately afterwards, a crimson, powerful phoenix hovered in the sky and wailed. All those who accept the bounty, go to the square and prepare for treatment. Hearing this, everyone stopped teasing Lin Ming, packed up their things, and swarmed towards a certain direction. Lin Ming followed closely behind. Soon, a large square was crowded with people. And on the high platform in the center of the square, there is a gorgeous divine bird several feet in size. There are golden patterns flowing on the crimson feathers all over the body, and the feathers on the head form a phoenix crown, which is extraordinary. What's even more shocking is the heavy coercion on her body, which makes people a little breathless. It was the Phoenix Princess who was waiting for treatment, and she was a saint-level powerhouse. At this time, she sighed with the brilliance on her body, and was lying on the high platform, powerless. A few larger crimson phoenixes without golden patterns surrounded her, whining anxiously, but there was nothing they could do. The princess of their family has not eaten for half a year. Even the mighty Phoenix clan would be unable to survive without eating for such a long time. That's why they were so urgent and issued a reward to the whole world. But now 3 months have passed, and the princess's anorexia still hasn't been cured. Behind the crowd, Lin Ming looked at the phoenix on the high platform and almost couldn't help laughing out loud. In the vision of his god-level animal nutritionist, where does this phoenix have any anorexia? This is obviously too picky, I made it myself. The phoenix is a very proud race, but this phoenix princess is very picky about food, and will never eat anything she is not satisfied with. Coupled with the proud character of the phoenix itself, it will be what it is now. No wonder so many people can't cure anorexia after 3 months. This is clearly going in the wrong direction. Knowing the root of the disease, he naturally knew how to cure it. Soon, the cure appeared in Lin Ming's mind. At the same time, the people at the front had already started treating Phoenix Princess. The first to appear was a middle-aged man in a white robe. He stretched out his hands, and the translucent light enveloped the Phoenix Princess. He was a rare scion. His treatment plan is to use his own mental power to fundamentally change Princess Phoenix's anorexia. As time passed by, the middle-aged man's face became more and more sweaty. Under his treatment, Princess Phoenix didn't respond at all. Okay, if not, back down. The Phoenix watching from the side became a little impatient. The man snorted, and the brilliance in his hand instantly increased, obviously wanting to make a last-ditch effort. But as the mental power he transmitted strengthened, Princess Phoenix opened her eyes irritably, obviously disturbed by him. Immediately afterwards, with a flap of wings and a scream, the man flew out and fell heavily behind the crowd. Next person. This time, it was a professional with various ingredients. His occupation is quite unpopular, named Chef Ling. In the treatment of anorexia, it is very suitable. Phoenix obviously had great hopes for what he reported, and even made an exception and said, "Do you need other ingredients? We can prepare them for you." No, Chef Ling only trusts the ingredients he picks. The professional snorted coldly and started cooking on the spot. Soon, the fragrance filled the entire square, and everyone couldn't help sniffing wildly, drooling. Not long after, accompanied by a loud shout, a golden dish came out of the oven. Putting the dishes in front of Princess Phoenix, the professional took a step back, confidently waiting for the result. Sure enough, Princess Phoenix was tempted by the aroma, opened her eyes, pecked lightly on the dish, and ate the next piece. She ate it. Chef Ling couldn't help but smile, he's going to succeed. But in the next second, a boss sound shattered all his dreams. Princess Phoenix spit out the food in her mouth, and said in a crisp voice, "It's so unpalatable." Chef Ling froze in place for a moment, and it took a long time to come back to his senses. Under the pity eyes of everyone, he walked down the high platform in a daze, sat on the stone bench beside him and smoked a stuffy cigarette. Obviously, the blow this time was not small for him. Next, more and more people came to the stage and started their performance. Lin Ming watched from behind, eye-opening. For this reward, all kinds of monsters, ghosts and monsters who could not imagine have come forward. Scions and spiritual chefs are relatively normal in it. Later, even the extremely unpopular profession of Buddhist disciple appeared. The monk directly announced on the high platform that the reason why the Phoenix Princess did not eat or drink was because of the lack of my Buddha's inspiration. If you want to restore her to the original state, you only need to take refuge in my Buddha, Amitabha. Before he could speak, he was slapped aside by the impatient Princess Phoenix. The phoenix that was staring at it directly surrounded it. "Dare to abduct our princess in our holy land, old monk, you are tired of your life." People go up one by one, but the effect is really not the slightest. The Phoenix Princess still looks like that, unwilling to eat. The atmosphere gradually became dignified. The phoenixes who took care of her around her became restless. Affected by this, the professionals who came to the stage later became trembling. In this oppressive atmosphere, Lin Ming finally took the stage. "Please start your show." "Well, you're a normal guy." The phoenix at the side recognized Lin Ming's identity at a glance, and immediately let out an angry cry. "Are you provoking our phoenix family? Even professionals are helpless. You are an ordinary person, what are you messing with?" Everyone in the audience was also uproarious. That guy actually came on stage. Is he dying? Facing the threat of a phoenix that was at least at the king level, Lin Ming raised his head slightly with his face covered by a hood, showing only half of his chin. His voice was cold and loose. "If you want me to save your princess, then shut up." As soon as these words came out, the phoenix's singing stopped abruptly, and it looked at the mysterious man in front of him under the robe with unbelievable eyes. Is he threatening himself? Even the sullen Princess Phoenix opened her eyes curiously, wanting to see who was so impolite and dared to be so presumptuous on the territory of her Phoenix clan. Seeing that it was an ordinary person, she became even more curious. This person is either really capable, or he is a sensationalist clown. The reason why Lin Ming dared to be so bold was naturally because he already had full confidence in his heart. As an ordinary person, in such a place where masters gather, the more mysterious and arrogant he is, the more incomprehensible and awe-inspiring he will be. In this way, you can talk less and try to hide your true identity as much as possible. Okay, tell me, how do you want to treat it? The king-level phoenix asked, holding his breath. If you don't eat, you must find a way to let her eat. Lin Ming rolled up his sleeves, raised his chin, and said to the king-level phoenix, "Go, I came in a hurry and I didn't bring any kitchen utensils. Give me a set. There are also commonly used seasonings. Finally, add a kilogram of basara worm, purple suyi, and sky spirit grass, half a kilogram each." Hearing the words basara worm, the king-level phoenix had an impatient expression just now, but immediately became surprised. Basara worms are not rare, but they are a specialty of Phoenix Garden, and they are also the favorite snacks of little phoenixes. How did this alien race know? But if you just rely on this secret to make a fuss, it is unlikely to succeed. After all, before releasing the reward, they had tried all the methods, and the basara bug was no exception. That's because you don't know how to cook. Facing the question of the king-level phoenix, Lin Ming said confidently with his mouth slightly upturned. I'd love to see how you cook. Can an outsider know how to cook basara worms better than us Phoenix clan? Soon, everything Lin Ming needed was ready. A clay pot with white flowers and worms that were still wriggling was placed on the table. What is this? It's disgusting. Is he going to give this to Phoenix Princess? Everyone in the audience who didn't know this kind of ingredients let out exclamations. But Lin Ming didn't care about them, and poured these basara bugs into the iron pot in batches very skillfully. Stir-fry slightly, then add purple suyi and tianling grass, mix well, then sprinkle some salt and pepper, and it's straight out of the pot. After doing this several times, he cooked all the basara worms in a large clay pot, placed them on a wooden plate, and presented them in front of Princess Phoenix. At this time, the eyes of the king-level phoenix on the side have changed to, "Are you kidding me? Where does this count as cooking? 3-year-olds can do it." Compared with the flashy operation of the Ling chef just now, Lin Ming's cooking is simply extremely rough. "Your Highness, it's better to drive this human out, he is clearly." Before he finished speaking, the king-level phoenix shut his mouth suddenly, his eyes full of surprise. Because he found that facing this plate of basara worms sprinkled with salt and pepper, Her Royal Highness, who is always sullen, actually raised her head. Not only that, her eyes are wide open, full of appetite. She carefully picked up a basara worm, put it in her mouth and tasted it slowly. Immediately afterwards, a shining light suddenly burst out in her eyes. Tasty. Before the words finished, I saw Princess Phoenix burying her head in her mouth and eating without any regard for elegance and etiquette. A kilogram of basara worms were made clean by her in an instant. This scene stunned the phoenix next to him and everyone in the audience. This ordinary person on stage actually succeeded. Using those kinds of strange ingredients, and then stir-frying them indiscriminately, it really whetted the appetite of Princess Phoenix. Is that a lie? It's not over yet. After eating the whole plate, Princess Phoenix was still not satisfied, and immediately looked up at Lin Ming. She yelled like a child, "I want it, I want it." While yelling, she stretched her head to Lin Ming's side and rubbed against it, like a greedy little girl begging for food from an adult. Your anorexia has almost been cured, and my reward has been completed. Lin Ming was unmoved, very indifferent, only thinking about the dragon egg and his reward in his heart. My lord, please make a few more copies, and we will increase the reward appropriately. The king-level phoenix on the side said quickly, his attitude had already changed 180 degrees. Hearing that there is a reward bonus, Lin Ming became interested, nodded and said, "Okay then." So, under the watchful eyes of a crowd of phoenixes and professionals, the Phoenix Princess gave a live performance of what it means to be a foodie. What is dry rice? Princess Phoenix took one bite after another, unable to stop cooking. Lin Ming made one plate after another, his tired hands trembling, before he could barely feed the Phoenix Princess. Seeing the Phoenix Princess, who was full of food and drink and chirping cheerfully, Lin Ming rubbed his sore wrist, feeling a little palpitated. The phoenix's body shape is already relatively small among the large monsters, and it still makes me tired enough. You know, the golden dragon is bigger than some real dragons. That appetite is even more terrifying. The subsequent feeding is also a big trouble. Princess Phoenix turned her attention to Lin Ming again. She leaned over cautiously, for fear of causing any rumors. She rubbed her head against Lin Ming's body, and coquettishly said in a tone she had never done before, "Little big brother, can you stay here? Cook and eat for me every day, I'll give you whatever you want." "I'm sorry to refuse." Lin Ming continued to be indifferent. It is impossible to stay in the Phoenix Garden for a long time. The audience in the audience has been numb. Where have they seen such a scene? The Phoenix Princess, who is so high above the sky, actually condescends to a human being who is not even a professional. Just for his cooking. How delicious is that stuff? At this time, when everyone looked at Lin Ming's figure, they felt a little more awe and confusion. Who is this ordinary person who has done something that even they couldn't, and who is so indifferent and arrogant? You're not anorexic, you're just too picky about what you eat. Eat my food, stimulate the stomach, and your acceptance of other foods will also increase. My mission has been completed. Should I be given the rewards I deserve? Okay. Seeing that Lin Ming couldn't stay, Princess Phoenix wailed in disappointment. The king-level Phoenix next to it immediately went up, and said in a deep voice, "Thank you, respected human being. You cured our princess. According to the previous agreement, you obtained the friendship of our Phoenix clan and a promise. That promise, do you want to honor it immediately, or seal it?" "I want to cash in immediately." Lin Ming said in a deep voice, "I need enough Jinro." The so-called Zenlu is what the Phoenix family calls their own saliva. The king-level Phoenix was taken aback for a moment, then heaved a sigh of relief and said, "This is simple." He was still worried that Lin Ming would make some excessive demands. Fortunately not. The true dew of the Phoenix is actually the spittle of the Phoenix above a certain level. It is precious outside. How can this thing be lacking in the Phoenix paradise? He immediately arranged for people to prepare, but was suddenly stopped by Princess Phoenix. "I'll come in person." Phoenix Princess stepped forward gracefully and ordered. How can the princess do this? The king-level Phoenix was taken aback. As a Phoenix Princess and a saint-level powerhouse, her true dew is far more precious than other phoenixes. It can even be said that the two are not on the same level at all. "Stop talking nonsense." Princess Phoenix glared at him. The king-level Phoenix had no choice but to fetch the container. The Phoenix Princess lowered her head slightly, opened her beak, and the golden red liquid exuding a scorching breath dripped into the wooden box drop by drop, filling it up quickly. Seeing this scene, the audience was envious for a while. This is the true dew of Princess Phoenix. Take it out and sell it, the real value, every drop will be sold for more than 100 million star coins. But what really stunned them was yet to come. Princess Phoenix pushed the wooden box to Lin Ming, then spread her wings, and took out a pure golden feather from the root of the left wing. "This is my birth feather, I give it to you as a symbol of our friendship. Whoever dares to hurt you is my enemy." As soon as these words came out, seeing the golden feather in Lin Ming's hand, everyone in the bird, including the king-level Phoenix, opened their mouths wide, too shocked to speak. This is the natal feather of Princess Phoenix. The legendary Phoenix's life feather, which is comparable to the dragon's Nilin, belongs to the Phoenix Princess, so it's just given to this kid. This is equivalent to a life-saving talisman. Damn it, I'm so envious. Your Highness, this person is just cooking a dish, so he shouldn't be treated so courteously. The king-level Phoenix is going crazy. If the King of Phoenix found out that Princess Phoenix had given her natal feather to a human being who didn't know the details in front of him, he would definitely not be able to eat it. But Princess Phoenix ignored him at all and continued to introduce Lin Ming. Wearing this feather on your body contains extremely strong nirvana power. When you are in danger, it will actively stimulate to form a protective cover. If you are injured, it can also heal your injuries, which is equivalent to an extra life. Besides, it is also a symbol of the supreme friendship of our Phoenix family. If you are injured or die, I will be equally injured. That is to say, those who hold this feather are like me in person. As she spoke, Princess Phoenix turned her eyes to the audience. Her eyes were cold and stern, which instantly suppressed the bad thoughts of many people. A wooden box of essence real dew has already attracted the peeps of many people in the crowd. Especially when Lin Ming is still an ordinary person. But with this phoenix in his body, whoever dares to attack Lin Ming is equivalent to attacking the Phoenix Princess. Princess Phoenix is just proud, she's not stupid. Giving this golden feather to Lin Ming is not only hoping to win him over so that he can come to Phoenix Garden more often in the future to cook for himself, but also to protect Lin Ming's safety. With this Phoenix natal feather, it means that there is a holy Phoenix, or even the entire Phoenix clan, standing behind Lin Ming. Who dares to shoot Lin Ming? What an honor! For a moment, everyone in the audience looked at the golden feather in Lin Ming's hand and gritted their teeth enviously. Why didn't this honor fall on me? That kid, he just fried a plate of big white worms. I can do it too. Lin Ming pondered for a moment, then nodded to Princess Phoenix. I accept this golden feather. Thank you for your gift. Later, if I have time, I will come to cook for you. After finishing speaking, he put away the golden feather and the wooden box, and turned around to leave amidst the joyful cries of the Phoenix Princess who had achieved her goal. Seeing this, a group of professionals were both angry and helpless, and prepared to disperse. Seeing this, Princess Phoenix tilted her head and muttered something to the king-level Phoenix next to her. The king-level Phoenix understood immediately, and said loudly, "Please wait a moment, everyone. My princess has a life. Although her anorexia has been resolved, it's because everyone has worked so hard for her illness. Next, as long as she can make delicious food that the princess can eat, there will be a reward." When everyone heard it, their spirits lifted. You don't have your own share of the grand prize, and it would be nice to get a consolation prize. As for what Phoenix Princess likes to eat, hasn't that person demonstrated it before? It's not over if you reproduce it all. For a strong professional, it is easy to remember the ingredients and the amount used in Lin Ming's operation before. Then, they were sadly urged. Bah, what is this? With a loud curse, a figure flew up into the sky, and then fell down heavily. The professional was aggrieved with tears in his eyes. How is this going? I obviously did exactly the same as that person just now, didn't I? Why did Princess Phoenix have two reactions? The Phoenix Princess was so angry that she spread her wings and blew away all the kitchen utensils on the stage. It's too bad, it's too bad. Vomit. I take back what I said before, and there will be rewards for making delicious dishes. Next time, whoever dares to cook such dark dishes, I will never spare him. The king-level Phoenix on the side was a little unbelievable. He just watched the audience, and the operation of that professional was indeed the same as that of the mysterious man. He picked one from the plate and ate it, throwing it up immediately. Give me a hard hit on him. The king-level Phoenix was also angry. How could there be such an unpalatable thing in this world? Seeing the reaction of the two birds does not seem to be fake. The others who were about to take the stage were a little confused. What's happening here? But there were still some people who didn't believe in evil, and imitated Lin Ming's previous appearance again after taking the stage, and made a stir-fried big white worm. Then he was beaten violently by a crowd of phoenixes. Even Princess Phoenix was dumbfounded. The process and the ingredients are all the same, but why is the final taste so different? At this time, Lin Ming, who had already walked away, heard the faint howling coming from behind, and a sneer twitched at the corner of his mouth. After laughing at me for so long, do you really think I have no temper at all? That's right, the Basara worm was actually a pit that Lin Ming buried intentionally. It doesn't matter what you do exactly. What really matters is the characteristics of the god of cookery profession. All food made by the god of cookery will inspire the power of gourmet food. Regardless of the quality of the ingredients, it will become a delicacy, achieving excellent taste and texture. Combined with a god-level animal nutritionist, this is Lin Ming's magic weapon. This is an ability that is always on Lin Ming. Therefore, there will be a magical situation where the operation is obviously the same, but the final taste is very different. While thinking, Lin Ming has come to the place where he came to Phoenix Garden before, communicated with the Gaia system, and activated the coordinates. The fog door reappeared, Lin Ming stepped in again, and disappeared without a trace. On the other side, the Phoenix Princess, who was casting flames and burning those professionals who disgusted her with anger, sensed Lin Ming's departure through the special induction of the golden feather. She couldn't help but sighed, and looked in the direction where Lin Ming left, with nostalgia in her eyes. I don't know when I will be able to eat such delicious food. However, this month when I get together with my sisters, I have something new to talk about. With this in mind, Princess Phoenix's spirit lifted. Correspondingly, the flames on the professionals also grew stronger, and they screamed as they burned. Soon, word of mouth spread among Princess Phoenix's circle of friends and professionals who had witnessed all this. Soon, such a legend spread in the world of Warcraft. There is an ordinary person who is not even a professional, but he can make delicious food that makes all the monsters fascinated. All the monsters who heard about this incident all imagined, what kind of delicious taste can make Princess Phoenix so fascinated, and even give their own life and love. Of course, all of this, at least for now, has nothing to do with Lin Ming. After returning to his room, Lin Ming, who completed the last blind ingredients, immediately started making the nutrient solution. What Lin Ming obtained this time was the true dew of Phoenix Princess, which was much more effective than the essence of ordinary Phoenix. Therefore, the effect of the nutrient solution will be much stronger. Just do it. Lin Ming immediately placed an order to buy all the remaining materials needed. Soon, all the materials were piled up on the table. These materials cost Lin Ming nearly 1 billion star coins in total. Of course, it's all worth it. These materials are all of the highest quality that Lin Ming can obtain. This also means that the effectiveness of the nutrient solution will be the limit that Lin Ming can achieve at this time. Lin Ming started to operate immediately. The night passed quickly. Lin Ming looked at the large vat of dark green liquid with a strange fragrance in front of him, and smiled in relief. Immediately afterwards, he took out the wooden box containing Xinlu, and poured all the liquid inside into the wooden barrel. As the golden red liquid was poured into it, the dark green liquid quickly changed color. Eventually, all of the liquid turned a nearly transparent pale gold. This is the true face of nutrition. Putting the dragon egg into a nutrient solution worth 1 billion yuan, and setting an alarm clock for 8 hours, Lin Ming went back to bed and fell asleep. 8 hours later, Lin Ming was woken up by the alarm clock. After 8 hours of sleep, Lin Ming's spirit was full again. He came to the laboratory and leaned over to the vat to have a look. I saw that more than half of the liquid had turned back to the dark green color. On the originally dead dragon egg, the golden threads glowed and flowed continuously, full of vitality. When the bucket of liquid turns green again and becomes transparent again, it is when the dragon eggs hatch. Lin Ming was bored, so he checked the news for a while. He also went to various forums, as a passerby, watching other people crazily touting the mystery and power of the great potion master Ming, feeling secretly refreshed. He didn't know when he could accept this worship openly. Suddenly, there was a crisp clicking sound, and Lin Ming was refreshed, and hurried over to check. I saw that all the liquid in the vat had turned a dark green color. Through the dark green, cracks could be seen on the dragon eggs at the bottom of the bucket. It's about to hatch. Under Lin Ming's amazed gaze, the dark green color in the nutrient solution is rapidly receding. In the end, there was only a big bucket of water left in the whole big bucket. Clear and transparent, and at the level of the vat, the eggshell shattered, and a large golden lizard as long as a forearm was lying on the bottom of the vat, lowering its head and nibbling on its own eggshell. Finally hatched. Lin Ming suppressed the throbbing in his heart, and waited for the little golden dragon to eat all the eggshells before he fished it out and held it in his hand to check. Golden worm works well too. Lin Ming's blood was also added to the bucket of liquid just now, so the little golden dragon was very familiar with Lin Ming's breath and did not resist it. Without hesitation, Lin Ming quickly took out the scroll of the soul contract that he had already prepared, and put the little golden dragon on it. Immediately afterwards, he bit the tip of his index finger, dripping blood between the little golden dragon's eyes and on the scroll. The blood seeped in immediately, and a burst of bright light burst out. In an instant, Lin Ming and the golden dragon in front of him had a subtle feeling of spiritual connection. And his professional panel also jumped out at this time. On Lin Ming's attribute panel, the constant level 0 suddenly jumped and became level 1. This means that Lin Ming is now an official dragon trainer with his own dragon. It is also the only official dragon trainer that has been recorded by human beings so far. Days of hard work finally paid off. Lin Ming couldn't help holding the little golden dragon in his arms, bouncing around the room, laughing wildly from time to time. As soon as the little golden dragon was born, he possessed a lot of spirituality. It looked up at its master with a puzzled face, not knowing what was going on crazy with him. After some venting, Lin Ming calmed down and began to look at the golden dragon in his arms. Compared with ordinary golden dragons, this golden dragon with the 2 talents of ancestry and mutation is slightly smaller in size, and the overall body is more streamlined, and it even feels underdeveloped and malnourished. But as long as he touched his scales, Lin Ming knew that the various attributes of this golden dragon were far higher than ordinary golden dragons. Whether it is the strength of the muscles, or the hardness of the scales and the magic resistance effect, they are more than 1 level stronger than the average golden dragon. This is because his body contains far more real dragon blood than normal golden dragons. If it is not without wings, there is a horn in the center of the head, instead of the double horns like the golden holy dragon. He looked no different from the legendary golden holy dragon. Lin Ming happily looked at the first dragon that belonged to him, looked at him carefully, and said, "Tell me, what should I name you? Look at your golden body, you have a golden horn, how about this, let's call you Golden Horn." The Golden Horn King's Golden Horn. For Lin Ming's naming level, the little golden dragon was obviously not too cold, rolled his eyes, and quaked twice to express his dissatisfaction. But Lin Ming was very satisfied with the name, so he pretended not to understand, and gave this name to the little golden dragon. After making a good name, Lin Ming continued to check his career panel. I want to see what the dragon trainer, a profession that is said to be extremely powerful once you get started, will bring you after officially stepping into the threshold of a professional. First of all, he can finally view the detailed description of the dragon trainer's class characteristics on the class panel. In the job description, Lin Ming learned that a dragon trainer mainly trains soul contracted dragons to gain power. In this process, the dragon trainer will probably get 1/10 of the vitality of the contracted dragon and all related attributes. And this profession is special in that the dragon trainer does not have its own professional level, and its professional level depends entirely on the contracted dragon clan. The stronger the dragon and the higher the level, the dragon tamer can get buffs from it, and then become stronger. This also means that dragon trainer is a rare occupation without occupation level. Those magic potions that Lin Ming worked so hard to refine were useless to him at all. Lin Ming was a little disappointed at first, but on second thought he was. The dragon clan is strong enough, plus the dragon trainer who can obtain 1/10 of the attributes of the dragon clan, it is already too strong. If this dragon trainer can also gain experience through spawning monsters, it is really too strong. This, maybe it is the limitation of the dragon trainer profession. Immediately afterwards, he checked the properties of himself and Jin Zhao. Open black lens bracket name, Lin Ming close black lens bracket. Level, 1 constant. Strength, 13 plus 8. Spirit, 16 plus 1. Agility, 16 plus 6. Physique, 15 plus 10. Pet column, open black lens bracket name, Golden Horn close black lens bracket. Race, Golden Dragon mutation. Open black lens bracket grade 1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket power, 80 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket spirit, 10 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket agility, 60 close black lens bracket. Physique, 100. Looking at the attributes of the Golden Horn and the blessings for him, Lin Ming couldn't help but gasp. Only then did he understand why the dragon race is called the strongest race. Golden Horn is still at the first level, not a real dragon yet, so there are such outrageous statistics. The data of the real dragon can only be more terrifying. A newly born real dragon is already stronger than many professionals. What is racial talent? This is called racial talent. Golden Horn is awesome. Lin Ming smiled and kissed Jin Zhao. From now on, the future and safety of your father and me will all be entrusted to you. After all, Jin Zhao was born not long ago, so he still can't quite understand the meaning of Lin Ming's words. But Lin Ming praised him that he could still sense his emotions, so he quacked twice, looking arrogant and mighty. Immediately afterwards, Lin Ming tested his current physical condition under the blessing of the Golden Horn. Holding the Golden Horn, I came to the gymnasium that comes with the villa. Coming to a 50 kilograms barbell, Lin Ming took a deep breath, grasped the barbell with both hands, and let out a low cry. Then, he almost stumbled. The 50 kilograms barbell was far lighter than he imagined, and he lifted it up with one stroke. This is something that the original Lin Ming could not do. Lin Ming excitedly put down the barbell and came to the speedometer. Soon after the speed test was over, Lin Ming showed a satisfied smile as he looked at his results. The speed increase is also nice. Next is physique. To test physical fitness, what needs to be measured is endurance. Lin Ming adjusted the treadmill to medium speed and started running. After running for a full half an hour, he was still in good spirits, except for a thin layer of sweat. After completing all the tests, Lin Ming looked at himself excitedly. Although it looks like before, nothing has changed. But Lin Ming knew that he had been reborn. Obviously, this powerful force is directly attached to oneself in a mysterious way, rather than directly acting on the body. Although his current physical data, there is no way to compare it with normal professionals. But Lin Ming is content. What's more, Golden Horn was just born. The development space is too big to imagine. Lin Ming has self-confidence, and her own attributes will undergo earth-shaking changes accordingly. Of course, for the dragon trainer, what is in front of him now is the issue of longevity. Under natural conditions, it takes hundreds of years for a dragon to become an adult. An ordinary dragon trainer may not be able to wait for that day. But it doesn't matter, don't forget, who is Lin Ming? He is the owner of various god-level life occupations. Relying on a god-level pet training expert and a god-level pet nutritionist, he has already tailored a set of growth paths suitable for Golden Horn. Of course, based on these 2 points alone, it would take Lin Ming almost 10 years to raise Jin Zhao to adulthood. But Lin Ming obviously didn't want to waste such a long time. He already has a brilliant solution. Opening the Life and Occupation panel, Lin Ming looked at a career with golden light flowing. This profession is called Artisan of Relics. This profession can make all kinds of holy objects with magical functions. Among them, there is one that perfectly fits Lin Ming's needs. Without harming the Golden Horn, speed up its growth by more than 10 times. Even in previous games, relic craftsman was a very rare profession. To become a relic craftsman, one needs to be proficient in life occupations such as forging, enchanting, magic item manufacturing, and even magic creature production, in order to be eligible to become a relic craftsman. Note that you are qualified to become, not necessarily will become. After that, you still need to go through various tests before you can officially become a relic craftsman. Because of this difficulty, in the entire game in the previous life, only a few people including Lin Ming and others were able to achieve the achievement and obtain this profession. With such difficulties, the ability of the relic craftsman is naturally quite extraordinary. A relic craftsman can create a magical item called a relic. Unlike ordinary enchanted swords and magic items, holy objects have permanent passive abilities. Moreover, the passive ability of each sacred object is very unique and powerful, and it is valid for life. Therefore, the value of holy objects is far higher than that of swords and magic items. In this world, there are also sacristy craftsmen. It's just that here, they are called relic masters, they are rare in number, and their status is respected. Lin Ming also searched for the works of these reliquarists on the internet. How do you say it? In Lin Ming's view, their craftsmanship can be described as appalling. At this time, Lin Ming is in the picture, and the sacred object he wants to create is called the Time Star Necklace. The function of this creature is very simple, but also very domineering. That is, when the beast wears it, the speed and efficiency of growth can be increased by more than dozens of times. This is the sharp weapon Lin Ming uses to solve the slow growth of the Dragon Clan. But after all, to make such a miraculous holy vessel, the materials needed are naturally not ordinary. After searching for a long time in the information panel, Lin Ming has collected most of the materials, but there are still 2 precious and rare main materials that have not been found. These 2 main materials, one called meteorite, are a unique treasure. It can only be formed by the collision of the power of the plane after the birth of the plane and the disappearance of the plane. Lin Ming searched for a long time, searched all over the information panel, trading store, and auction panel, and finally found out that meteorites had appeared in the world's fishing grounds. As for another material, feather of time, it is even rarer. This is a highly time-ruled condensed substance similar to a feather, and generally only areas with rich and chaotic time rules can be born. The time rule is one of the bottom rules of the world. It is ubiquitous and silent, and treats everyone fairly. The places where the rules of time converge are already rare enough, and not every place where the rules of time converge can give birth to feathers of time. After thinking about it, Lin Ming had no choice but to focus on the meteorites that were still traced, and began to inquire about the details of the world's fishing grounds. The more he checked, the more joyful his face became. He found that the two materials he urgently needed seemed to have appeared in the fishing grounds of the world. The so-called world fishery naturally does not really refer to the fishery. That is a unique place, where the blue star plane connects with other planes, the gap formed by the chaotic impact of space. In the end, a place like a fishing ground is formed. It has been developed as a place for professionals to fish. Of course, the fish they catch are not normal fish, but unique items that may exist in the void turbulence. For example, after the destruction of the plane, or the various treasures that only exist in the turbulence of the void, or even various rare void creatures. Of course, it could also be all kinds of garbage. During the investigation, Lin Ming noticed that someone had fished meteorites in the fishing grounds of the world, and there were also a lot of illusory substances similar to feathers. Hearing the description, Lin Ming knew that the so-called illusory substance was the feather of time. It's just that the feather of time is too rare, and its usage is very unorthodox, so this world hasn't been developed yet, and it hasn't been named. In an instant, Lin Ming made up his mind. The whereabouts of these two materials must be found in the world fishing ground. As for why he is so confident, looking at the miraculous fishing master on the life occupation panel, Lin Ming smiled without saying a word. He immediately began to inquire about how to enter the world fishery. If you want to enter the world fishing ground, the threshold is very high. The entrance fee alone requires 100 million star coins. That's it, just one day, and you have to pay again the next day. As for whether there is anything in it, it all depends on personal ability and luck. Sometimes it is common to return home empty-handed after a hard day. But even so, there are still many high-level professionals who have to throw 2 shots if they have nothing to do. What's more, they don't level up to fight monsters, just squat in the world fishing ground every day and don't go out, which is called obsession. Sure enough, no matter which world it is, fishermen are all the same being. Lin Ming laughed for a while, and immediately paid a fee of 100 million star coins. As before, a portal appeared in front of Lin Ming. After making the disguise, Lin Ming put the golden horn into his pocket and walked into the portal. In an instant, Lin Ming came to a magnificent place. There is the sound of roaring waves in my ears, and dark rocks under my feet. A waterfall with a width of several hundred feet roared down from the crack in the void and fell into a torrential river. Looking carefully, the river water of the Great River is actually formed by the confluence of empty and turbulent streams, which is extremely terrifying. At this time, the Great River split into countless tributaries, spreading vertically and horizontally on the black rock. A group of professionals are standing next to these tributaries, holding special fishing rods and concentrating on them, hoping to catch some good ones. Each of these professionals has a strong aura, not to mention different occupations. Just looking at the fishing tackle in their hands and the debates between different fishing schools, one can tell that this place is extremely prosperous. There are really not a few high-level professionals who are good at this. As soon as Lin Ming appeared, countless eyes came from far and near. At the same time, there were still sounds of surprise. Am I not mistaken, this kid only has level 1. Someone looked at Lin Ming in disbelief, and couldn't believe their eyes. This place is also outside the Gaia system, so the breath shielding function is invalid. Everyone could tell at a glance that Lin Ming was just a professional at the first level. So everyone was shocked. Who is so rich, spending 100 million star coins to let children come here to play? Lin Ming's face was hidden under the hood, and he continued to maintain a high and cold form. He was used to such words and surprises. These days, he went in and out of places only high-level professionals would go in and out of. Looking around, I'm the only one at level 1, not being conspicuous. Ignoring anyone, Lin Ming walked to the stall selling all kinds of fishing gear on his own, preparing to buy the gear needed for fishing. Young man, what do you want? The man who looked at the booth was an old man with missing teeth, but his imposing manner was thick and his strength was obviously extraordinary. Lin Ming looked down at the various fishing gear on the booth. The most expensive of these is the fishing rod. A better fishing rod costs tens or 2 billion at every turn, and a lesser one costs tens of millions. Expensive naturally has its own reasons. The world's fishing grounds are not real fishing grounds after all. What he wants to catch is not in the water, but in the frantic turbulence of the void. Ordinary fishing rods would instantly shatter as soon as they approached. Only a fishing rod made of this special material can successfully exist in the turbulent flow of the void and thus catch things smoothly. Lin Ming touched and tested all kinds of fishing rods, then shook his head and put them down. At this time, he had already equipped himself with the profession of a god-level fishing master, so he could tell at a glance that even the most expensive fishing rods were of mediocre quality. It's not even as good as the one made by my own god-level craftsman master profession. After thinking for a moment, he directly picked up the cheapest one on the stall, 10 million fishing rods, paid the bill and left. Holding the fishing rod, Lin Ming began to look for fishing spots. Soon, he fell in love with a place. It was the confluence of several tributaries, and the void was turbulent and violent. This kind of place is the easiest to catch good things. As the only level one pitiful in the audience, Lin Ming's actions naturally attracted the attention of others. Seeing that he was carrying the cheapest fishing rod and headed for the most dangerous tributary confluence, everyone immediately realized that this person was really a novice Xiaobai. You must know that the more turbulence in the void, the more complicated its spatial instability, and the more difficult it is to control the situation. And the wanton turbulence in the void is also very easy to damage the fishing tackle, which also causes this kind of fishing point. The difficulty coefficient increases, and it is difficult to be directly proportional to the income. Although it is true that in this kind of place, there is a relatively high probability that there are good things. But compared with the danger, this small benefit seems a bit insignificant. After all, no matter how good things are in the turbulence, if you can't catch them, it's still useless. What's more, Lin Ming bought the cheapest 10 million fishing rod. This kind of fishing rod, in such a fierce turbulent environment, will be broken if you are not careful, right? Immediately someone reminded. Young man, that is not the place for a novice like you to go. The void is chaotic and chaotic. Even veterans like us are not sure. Don't waste your money. Thank you. Lin Ming glanced back at him, nodded, expressed his thanks, then turned and continued on, without any intention of changing his mind. His posture seemed to some people to be too arrogant, which immediately caused discomfort. Humph! A professional snorted coldly, and said to the fishing friends next to him, a novice, who obviously doesn't understand anything, dares to take the cheapest fishing rod and go to places that old people like us dare not go to. It's just looking for abuse. Look, after a while, he will break the fishing rod, and then leave crying, wasting the admission fee of 100 million stars. Among the people present, many people had the same thoughts as that person. But these people are also happy to see it succeed. After all, fishing in the world's fishing grounds is very boring and fruitless for a long time. Now it is fun to watch, and by the way, it can also satisfy the superiority of these veterans. Of course they are happy. Under everyone's gaze, Lin Ming searched through several turbulent streams, and finally sat down on a small rock. With a flick of the fishing rod in his hand, the slender fishing line fell into the turbulent flow of time. Immediately afterwards, he sat on the shore motionless like an old monk in meditation. This motionless is half an hour. After half an hour, he slowly opened his eyes and lifted the fishing rod. Under everyone's gaze, there was nothing on the curved hook. As expected, in the crowd, bursts of laughter immediately sounded. Obviously, they are happy with this result, and they are not surprised. But Lin Ming didn't care about it, and he threw the hook again. It's just that this time, with the results of the last time, everyone has already decided that Lin Ming is a pure rookie, and there is no value for further attention. But almost a few minutes later, a loud sound of water coming out suddenly reached everyone's ears. Someone shipped it. Everyone immediately cheered up and followed the sound. Then they collectively froze, because the heavy sound of water just now came from the level 1 youth who was considered by everyone to be a rookie. Are you kidding me? The hook was empty just now, why did it ship out? Lin Ming pulled the hook to his eyes and saw that it was not what he needed, so he shook his head and threw it aside casually. Clang! A piece of metal fell to the ground. When everyone looked at it, they immediately gasped. It is a very rare metal material. With such a large volume, it would cost at least 200 or 300 million to sell. With just one hook, Lin Ming made back his capital, and even made a profit of 100 million. This made the Air Force for a long time a group of self-proclaimed fishing veterans envy. Luck, must be luck. Next, it must be the Air Force. But soon, as more and more things piled up under Lin Ming's feet, everyone's eyes became dull and their expressions became numb. They felt that their understanding of fishing and the fishing grounds of the world had been broken by this newcomer who suddenly appeared in front of them. Except for the first empty hook, Lin Ming will gain something every time after the next hook. And he never fished out garbage at all. Every time, it is a rare treasure in the world. What kind of plane spar after the plane collapsed? What kind of void iron condensed by the power of the void? What kind of root of the tree of life is still intact? These treasures, which can easily sell for hundreds of millions or billions outside, are piled up beside Lin Ming like garbage. He didn't even take a second look after catching it. It's like those things are all garbage. In an instant, the Taoism and pride of this group of fishermen were all shattered. They had never seen such easy fishing. Moreover, the cheapest fishing hook is still used, at the confluence of the most chaotic tributaries of the void turbulence. What a magical fishing skill this is! Soon, as Lin Ming harvested more and more, the eyes of everyone gradually changed subtly. From previous contempt, to unbelief, to doubting life. Now, everyone is full of admiration. They have determined that Lin Ming must be a hidden master fisherman. That's why he can have such a miraculous performance. In the field of fishing, the harvest is always the decisive proof above all else. No matter how disdainful they were before, everyone was ready to move after seeing such a big gain from Lin Ming. Don't get me wrong, they didn't want to snatch Lin Ming's harvest, but to learn fishing skills from him. But due to the mockery of Lin Ming before in the face of high-level professionals, no one has yet taken action. But as time passed, finally, someone couldn't hold back, and slowly came forward. It was an old man with white hair and a graceful demeanor, who obviously had an extraordinary status in the outside world. At this moment, the white-haired old man took his fishing rod and reel, and carefully sat beside Lin Ming. This young man, "Ah no, this master, won't it affect you if I sit here?" "It's okay, sit down, it won't affect me," Lin Ming said casually, glanced at him, and immediately saw through his details. The fishing rods and even the fish baskets are the most expensive ones, but they have sad faces, and the fish baskets are clean and empty. Obviously, this is the worst and least popular type of fisherman. People are very addicted to food, using the most expensive utensils, with the least harvest, or even no harvest. Commonly known as the Air Force guy. "Why, you want to learn fishing with me, let me teach you," Lin Ming said casually, without any intention of hiding any secrets. "Really, can you really teach me?" The old man became excited for a moment. He was still thinking about how to speak, but he didn't expect Lin Ming to be so generous, and he didn't mean to hide anything private. "Not a big deal technology. Take a shot and see." Lin Ming smiled and asked the old man to show it first. The old man was originally an Air Force guy, but he still got nothing by throwing a shot in this turbulent place. Then, he looked at Lin Ming and smiled awkwardly. Lin Ming didn't care, and began to point him out. "First of all, it's the hook throwing problem, what you're doing here is wrong. Then there is the observation of the turbulent flow in the void. If you want to catch spiritual things, there is also the choice of bait." Lin Ming spoke eloquently, telling all the tricks of fishing. Before he knew it, Lin Ming was surrounded by people far and near. They stopped fishing and stretched their ears, trying to hear Lin Ming's teachings. The more they listened, the brighter their eyes became, and the more excited their expressions became. What Lin Ming said is undoubtedly the dry goods among the dry goods. Just after listening to it for a while, they had a sudden sense of enlightenment, and felt that some problems that had troubled them before were all solved. What surprised them even more was that while teaching the old man fishing skills, Lin Ming did not stop throwing his rod. He was still catching items one after another. It wasn't until this moment that everyone realized how big a gap existed between themselves and Lin Ming in the field of fishing. What kind of fisherman is this? He is clearly the master of masters, the master of masters. Moreover, they couldn't help wondering whether the reason why Lin Ming appeared here was because their fishing skills were so bad that the great god couldn't stand it. Only then did they come here to give them a little shock and education, and to increase their knowledge. It's almost what I said, try swinging another shot. After some instruction, Lin Ming asked the old man to swing the club again. The old man took a deep breath and lowered his swing again. Soon, as the fishing line began to vibrate, the old man's eyes lit up and he drew his rod suddenly. On the fishhook, there was a grass hanging impressively. It's Xing Tiansao, a relatively rare medicine. Someone immediately recognized the origin of this grass. Holding the grass, the old man burst into tears with excitement and his hands trembled. The value of this grass is nothing compared to the treasures around Lin Ming. But this is the first time he has caught something with his own hands, and the commemoration is of great significance. God is pitiful, after so many years of fishing, he has finally gained something. Plop! The white-haired old man suddenly knelt down on one knee towards Lin Ming, and said excitedly, "Master, I want to worship you as my teacher. For the first time since I fell in love with this sport, I feel that I have improved my fishing skills." "What did you say?" Lin Ming was also taken aback by his actions. Looking at the wrinkles on his face and his head full of white hair, without any hesitation, Lin Ming shook his head, expressing his refusal. Let an old man of this age worship himself as a teacher and call him a disciple. This is too short life. But seeing the teacher's persistence and no intention of giving up, Lin Ming had no choice but to say, "You are too old, it is impossible to learn from a teacher. How about this, why don't we form a year-end friendship and call each other brothers, how about it?" The old man laughed loudly when he heard the words, and immediately responded, "No problem, teacher." As he spoke, he immediately took out a silver coin from his pocket and handed it to Lin Ming. "This silver coin is my token, give it to the teacher." Although it is said to be an equal exchange, the old man is determined not to change. Lin Ming had no choice but to let him go. Lin Ming looked at the silver coin. As a god-level treasure appraiser, he immediately realized that this coin was not ordinary. Extraordinary power flows on it, which can trigger a contact circle to contact the old man. But Lin Ming was not surprised. He had seen early on that this old man was an extraordinary person. In other words, who can come to this world's fishing grounds, who is not of extraordinary status. He put it away casually and stuffed it into his pocket. Meanwhile, the people watching this scene were extremely shocked. Lin Ming just arrived here, only thinks that the old man's status is extraordinary, but he doesn't know the real identity of the old man. But everyone present knew it clearly. Don't look at the world's fishing grounds, the old man is an extremely poor Air Force passenger. But outside the world fishing grounds, he is the famous 7th City Lord, Zhou Feng. In itself, it is a quasi-legend at the pinnacle of the holy level. And more important than Zhou Feng's strength is his identity. The city in the 7th City Lord actually refers to the space point where the Blue Star plane connects with other hostile planes. Here, the professionals of Blue Star forged a city to prevent the hostile plane army from invading Blue Star, and used it to fight other plane creatures and powerful people. These cities are often occupied by the most proficient professionals, and there are dozens of such cities in total. Due to the importance of these cities, this line of defense is also known as the Great Wall of Plain. As for Zhou Feng, he was in charge of guarding the 7th-ranked Void City, and he was also the city lord there, a warrior at the pinnacle of the sanctuary. And this strong man, one of the greatest hobbies in his life is fishing for treasure in the world's fishing grounds. However, this city lord's skills in fishing for treasure are very poor. He spends most of his time in the fishing grounds of the world, but he often returns in the Air Force, which once became a joke in the circle of professionals and big shots. And it was such a lofty and powerful quasi-legend who was willing to call Lin Ming a teacher and even gave him a precious token of his own. This means that Zhou Feng is willing to be Lin Ming's backing. Lin Ming has hugged Zhou Feng's thigh ever since. This made the people around envious for a while, and they also wanted to have such a friend, or apprentice, who could walk a little harder. It's a pity that they don't have that kind of miraculous fishing skills, and they haven't solved his problem after staying with Zhou Feng for so long. This is a hard technology, and one cannot envy it. Next, under the guidance of Lin Ming, Zhou Feng was fishing beside him. Under his guidance, every 2 or 3 times, Zhou Feng can have a harvest, and he was so excited that he couldn't see his brows with a smile. At this time, Lin Ming's expression suddenly changed slightly. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.